Election night. Nothing but stress, anxiety, basically a train wreck. Are you ready? Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so last night it was absolutely incredible. And the way these new rules are working out, I just don't know what to say or do about it. So we're going to have to look at this, and we're not going to go in depth. Obviously, I'm talking to you today. It's 11/4. It's 4:28 Central Time. The election hasn't been called yet. No lawsuits are flying. Things are crazy. Welcome to the American system. There has never been another time in my life when I have to say the previous statements I make that I have to stand beside that this country is in final need of a true third party system. Third party, right? We need to have more than two parties. Now, I know you're going to sit there and say we have the Independent Party and the Libertarian Party. I mean, literally, a legitimate runner. Not so much that can go neck and neck with the Democrats, but I think we need a party that can take enough away from both that forces them back to the table to talk, to negotiate, and to compromise. And that's what we used to do in this country, but not anymore. Today it's all about lawsuits, say whatever you want to get elected, lie about whatever you want, pay off whatever media companies. It's absolutely incredible. This is far from the American dream, but let's get into a few things. And believe it or not, I think there's one article that really sums this up today. And believe it or not, it's a liberal article, but let's get into it for a minute, okay? So here, this right here is obviously the Washington Post. This is today. Congressional Democrats' high hopes dashed as GOP clings to Senate majority, scores unexpected gains in the House, right? So not too bad, right? Not the major article, but it doesn't really sum up the night, right? Let's get to the next one. If he wins the White House, Biden's ambitions likely blocked by Republican Senate. I think that's like a duh moment here. We got to really look at this and go, duh, yeah. But the one place, and again, sometimes the leftist media does get it right. This is the article. This is Politico. This is today. Okay. Biden looks screwed even if he wins. That's it. So I wanted to get into this article because this article says it all. The Democrats will win the House. The Democrats will likely win the presidency. But there's an interesting point in this article that you're going to take from it, and I'm going to point out to you. And this is significant, but let's really get into it. So it starts off with, this is not the outcome Democrats expected. No kidding. They said there's going to be this massive blue wave. People hate Trump, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it didn't happen. Despite many bold predictions of a route in which Democrats gained or regained the Trumpian red territory of 2016, as early Wednesday, only one state, Arizona, had flipped from red to blue. 6 states remain outstanding: Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Now, with this being said, 2 of these states, Michigan and Wisconsin, I believe, have been called by this time. And Nevada is up in the air, I believe, but it depends on who you look at and who you talk to, but let's not assume. It says, assuming North Carolina and Georgia have slipped away from Biden, probably have. Georgia is not out of reach for him, probably is. And that Nevada remains blue, which it probably will. The best case scenario for the former vice president is a 290 electoral vote count. A vote victory, excuse me. That is more than George W. Bush achieved in his 2 successful campaigns. 271 in 2000, 286 in 2004. Yeah, but look at here. Next sentence is, but fewer than Barack Obama with 365 in 2008 and 332 in 2012. He didn't even outperform. He won't outperform Donald Trump either. Donald Trump got 304 in 2016. But of course, they go on. A win, of course, is a win. Sure. Understand. But there's this but. But if Biden is victorious, it will be under radically curtailed circumstances from what Democrats had assumed. There are a few hints in the 2020 results of realignment akin to what Ronald Reagan achieved when he made Jimmy Carter a one-term president in 1980 and ushered and ushered in the era of modern conservatism. There is no sense that Biden had reformed or reinvented the Democratic Party to be more competitive the way Bill Clinton did in 92. And that is a true statement. This was never about Biden and his policies, to be honest with you, because I don't think anyone really likes him. I mean, except for the few. And I don't care if you voted for him. Most people, I feel, voted for him because they didn't like Trump. And I know a lot of Trump supporters who will turn around and tell you that they voted for Trump, but no, he's a jerk. And that's putting it mildly. But they just didn't like Biden. And I said it all the way going back when I started this channel and we started talking politics that, Trump is a jerk and it's going to bite him in the butt. And Biden is nothing. He's a 47-year politician with not much to credit. And what makes it even worse is if we really get into it, the next part of this article is true. Biden lost ground with black voters and Latinos, though he gained some ground with white voters. Realignments are generally built around concrete ideas and specific policy reforms, but this campaign was always a referendum on Trump. See, even Politico calls it out. It's not that Biden had these immaculate policies, right? He didn't. And they're not ones that I think anyone really likes. Socialism is not something I think anyone wants or likes, but it gets worse. But the campaign was always a referendum on Trump rather than an affirmative endorsement of Biden and his agenda. So this is Politico, liberal media pointing this out. The dynamic already cut against Biden, claiming a strong positive mandate. He needed a crushing rejection of Trump to strengthen his case. Of course, he didn't get that. He didn't get that. I'm sorry, but it's just the way it is. He also needed the Senate. This is the key, people. This is the key. This is the paragraph here that's going to separate everything. Okay? And this is what you really need to listen to. But Democrats may fail to realize widespread predictions of retaking the chamber. That would mean whoever prevails in the presidential race, Mitch McConnell, might remain in charge of the upper chamber, retaining his role as arguably the most consequential politician in Washington. And Mitch McConnell is. And this is the problem with the two-party system. It's either left or right, no one in between. It doesn't matter, right? It's who controls the authority. In that case, Biden would be the first president. Now, listen to this. Biden would be the first president in 32 years to come into office without control of Congress. Another dynamic that would weaken his claim of a mandate. So, sure, Biden will probably oust Trump. Trump will be a one-term president. Sure, there's only been, he'll be the fourth one in history. But Biden will, in the modern day, Biden will be the first lame duck president ever in 32 years. Because why? He's the first president to not have the House of Representatives and the Senate in his pocket when he starts his whole tenure there as president. So what's he going to get done? No, the real winner here, if you want to look at it from a political point of view, is the Republicans. Because if they lose the presidency, they didn't lose the Senate. So nothing gets done. If you ever wanted to see what executive orders look like, if you think Barack Obama and Donald Trump were really big on them, what's Biden going to have to do now? He has all these progressives lined up that he made promises to. He's going to do all these big packages and he's going to create this economy that Trump could never do. Try passing it into law now. The only losers here are the American people. That is truly the only loss here is the American people. And the only reason why I think that there's not rioting in the streets today on either side is I think people are wisening up to the fact that, yeah, the president may be Biden after all this. But the president of what? He already said in his the second debate, it was supposed to be the third, but the second debate, that he couldn't get nothing done when he was vice president because he had a Republican controlled, I think, Congress at the time. Which is not true. Every president in the past, like this article points out, has started their tenure for 2 years at least with both houses, both chambers in their pocket. So what is going to get done? I can't tell you if anything's going to get done. The only winners here are the politicians and the people around the politicians who got paid an awful exorbitant sum of money to do this. I mean, there's two races that you had to watch, which was the Mitch McConnell seat in the Senate and the Lindsey Graham seat. Those two seats had a combined of almost $200 million thrown at a Senate race. Not a presidential race, a Senate race. And neither one of them fell. And they both won by like 10 points. And it really goes to wonder, what was the strategy by the Democrats? You wasted almost $200 million to not get those senators out. Don't you think that would have been better spent on the Susan Collins race? Don't you think that money would have been spent better somewhere else if you were looking to really win? I mean, what is wrong with you? You're going after the people who are so far entrenched in Washington, so far entrenched in their politics of their state. They bring so much money to this state. You really think those people are just going to see them out the door? I think that the problem here is it's the money that's really an issue. And I think that we're going to see 4 years of absolutely nothing. I can't see any tax laws being passed by the Biden camp. It's just not going to happen. This article, and even Politico, even a liberal source is even saying it's not going to happen. This is a bad scenario made even worse because you would have hoped that Biden would have gotten something right, but he's not going to get something right. And he's not going to, and the only thing he's going to do is write executive orders, and it's going to be all wrong. So if he wasn't going to work with the Republicans before, he's not going to work with them now because they're not going to work with him. So I'm sorry to say it, but I think this time around, I think the American people lost. They lost huge. Again, I'm not a Trump trained supporter. I was far from being a Biden supporter. But this right here is why we have checks and balances, right? So either Biden's going to play ball and have to work with Republicans, or he's not. And don't think for a minute if he tries to get out in the first 4 years that none of the Senate likes Kamala Harris. So nothing's going to get done. Not a goddamn thing with her. This is like such a bad thing. We really need that third party. We really do need that third party. But, let's take everything in stride. The country hasn't burned down. The race hasn't been called yet. It doesn't matter who wins the presidency at this point. And I'm saying that because it's only going to be executive orders. And those can be overturned and can be taken to court. And now the Republicans have the court. So we need a third party. People need to start thinking about what a third party would look like. And a really defined third party, not an independent party, not the Libertarian Party, because obviously they're not getting any traction. We need something that can stand on its own and force these two monsters to the table to listen to each other and to actually negotiate to get things done on the behalf of the American people. And the other interesting thing, because I've been reporting on the Hunter Biden thing the whole time, is will Daddy stop the investigation? If you thought the Russia hoax collusion and the Democrats, Trump's going to get in and he's going to, I want to see if he does it. I think he will, actually, because that's the type of father he's been. He's been an enabler, right? I mean, he's just been an enabler father. So we'll see what happens. But no one won. Even though the race isn't called, it doesn't matter who wins, Trump or Biden. It doesn't matter. This is the first time in 32 years that a president will not start out with both chambers. Nothing's going to get done. We're back to square one. It's just who's actually sitting in the president's seat that things aren't getting done. Every executive order can be overturned. And let's see. So no universal health care, no this, no that, and it's just not going to be there. So let's do 4 years of nothing. Absolutely nothing, because that's what's going to pretty much happen. Absolutely nothing. And we'll move on from there together, and hopefully we'll have much better candidates to choose from, right? I will talk to you all later. Thank you so much, and stay safe. And don't go crazy once it is actually called, will you? Have a good one.